The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Central Emergency Services, Alaska, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35162. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 tow hooks located on the passenger and driver's side frame rail. Moving up to the face of the bumper, passenger and driver's side dual air horns. Just inside of that location on the passenger side, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Also the Unit 2. Moving over to the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Let's move up onto the bumper extension area where you'll find your swivel discharge on the passenger side, and also a tubbed storage location. D-handle will gain you access into this area. This is for your front bumper load. Let's move on to the cab itself, where at the very bottom section of the cab you'll find your emergency warning light. This is the lower emergency warning light front area. As we move to the outer edge, you'll find a marker turn indicator light. Just inside of that location, headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. The high beam will be located on the inside. Directly above the headlight structure, you'll find a marker turn indicator and then also a combination emergency warning light. As we move up to the windshield, you'll find a seamless one-piece windshield that has 3 windshield wipers. As we move to the outer edge, you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving directly above into the brow area, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight, and you'll also find embedded in the brow light are your clearance lights. Located at the very top section, you'll find your Opticom, and then up onto the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's take a look at some close-ups of those things that we just talked about from a different angle. First, starting with the front bumper extension. As we move to the swivel discharge located on the passenger side, this is a foam-capable discharge. Let's take a look inside the diamond-plated area. This is going to be dry deck material inside for your front bumper load. Let's take a look at the cab. First, starting at the ground level with your tires. You have Michelin tires, Alcoa wheels, and also a sight gauge for the axle. Underneath each door, you'll find perimeter lighting. As we move to the front bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. And as we move to the step well into the driver's area, you'll find your air inlet. Let's move up onto the cab. To the rear cab, you'll find an additional emergency warning light side-facing. Door handles. These are easily accessible with a gloved hand, and they are also keyed. You'll also find right next to that the grab handle for gaining access in or out of the cab. Directly over the axle is where you'll find your shoreline inlet auto discharge plug, and also you'll find directly above that, when plugged into shoreline power, the battery charging maintenance system will illuminate indicating battery status. On the rear wall, you'll find your LED water tank level indicator, and directly over the passenger and driver's side door, you'll find a side-facing LED light floodlight. Close-ups here, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheels, and also the axle sight gauge. As we move to your shoreline inlet, this is a 20 amp auto eject and also battery voltage indicator directly above that. Let's move into the driver's space. Let's first start with the door panel area. Affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning information placard. You'll also find door lock and latch, and also manual window controls. As we move to about the floor area of the vehicle, you'll find this yellow placard manufactured for your department indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, and also all the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and fluid type. Let's take a general look into the cab area. First, let's start with your master battery switch. This is just a general viewing here. As we move up, you'll find your pump shift. And then as we move to the opposite side of the steering column, this will be your axle interaxle differential lock. Let's focus in on where the battery switch is located. It's the silver quarter turn. This is the master battery switch. You'll also find 3 options here. You have your tech module, engine, transmission, ABS and diagnostic port, and also display port. These are all for your maintenance team. As we move down, you'll find your ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit switch. Let's move up to the pump shift, where you'll find instructions for road to pump, and then also instructions from pump to road. You do need 2 green indicators before exiting the cab for pump operations. That's going to be pump engaged and OK to pump. Let's move to the opposite side of the steering column, where you'll find your interaxle differential lock and also an interaxle differential lock indicating locked in the red indicator. On the left, you'll find your start and ignition switch. Just inside of this location, the switch labeled EM stands for Emergency Master. It engages and disengages all emergency lights. Just inside of that, your headlight switch and a switch labeled panel, which will allow you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. On the opposite side of the steering column, you'll find your OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch. Moving up, you'll find your transmission oil, DEF level, and water temp. On the right-hand side gauges, you'll find front and rear air, fuel, and volts. Directly in the center, you'll find the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information displays above and below the speedometer. As we move all the way up into the very far right-hand side, we do have also a tire chain indicator light. It is green, indicating that tire chains have been deployed. Let's move just to the right of this location to the center column area, where you'll find your Pierce command zone. Once again, tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Please see the owner's manual for more information. Just to the right, you'll find your windshield wiper control, push for fluid to the windshield. We have a set of switches, of rocker switches. We'll go over those in just a few moments. Also, your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. It is the yellow diamond on the left-hand side. Allison transmission pad, digital readout, push button, also an informational note on that to pump in drive. Once again, going back up to the top, this is a touch screen, easily accessible. Please see the owner's manual for more details. As we move to the switch panel, we have an engine brake on and off switch, setting switch for low, medium, and high for that engine brake, differential lock, which is a protected switch, off-road traction, mirror heat, and tire chains, which is also protected. Let's move downward from this location where you'll find your Allison transmission pad. We do have a warning here regarding always engage the parking brake and run the engine while the front wheel lock is on. Moving to the right, you'll find climate control for heat and defrost, and also 12-volt access via USB. Master dump, driver's side dump chute valve, passenger side dump chute valve, rear dump chute valve, and also pump heater. As we move to the next set of switches, we have a do not move override, moose light, and load manager. As we move directly over the head of the operator, I'd like to focus in on this yellow placard. It's going to give you the height of your vehicle, 11 feet, 0.25 inches, length 36 feet, 4.85 inches, gross vehicle weight rating, 66,800 pounds. If you make any adjustments to your vehicle that may change this, please update this placard. Let's move just to the right. We've got an additional set of switches. These are your emergency lights. We have emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and Opticom. Let's move just to the right where we've got an additional set of membrane switches. Air horn, mechanical siren, siren brake, perimeter lights, which is currently illuminated, front flood, driver's side flood, passenger side flood, and rear flood. The perimeter lights is currently illuminated. That will give you an indication as to what they look like when they're in the on position. As we move further to the right, you'll find the traffic advisor module. Moving further to the right, you'll find your siren control module and also PA speaker system. Let's move to the center where you'll find the Pierce information seat belt. Red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted. Green indicating they're in the seat and belted. Quick view to the rear, 2 forward-facing, 2 rear-facing seats. Directly behind the driver's seat, we have Shoreline outlet. When plugged into Shoreline, your battery charging system will activate and maintain batteries. Let's move to the rear section of the cab. Let's first start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, as I've said before, all of our safety and warning information placard. We also have manual window controls, door lock and latch, and a grab handle. To the rear of the engine area, you'll find a lift and turn latch will gain you access to your daily checks for transmission and oil. General view here of the officer seat, and then directly behind, you'll find your unit radio module. These are the compartments that have the netting on them. I would like to point out the compartment light is the switch at the very top section. There's also Shoreline outlets inside those compartments. As we move to the rear, you'll find 2 SCBA mounted seats directly on the rear wall, and also headsets. We're now to the exterior where you'll find a D handle will gain you access into the rear cab door area at the very bottom section. Let's take a quick look at the pump panel area. Let's start at the very top section with your crosslays, crosslay 1, crosslay 2, and the 2.5-inch crosslay. All of these are foam capable. As we move through, we've got some warning labels here. Entanglement hazard. Because of those hoses coming from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. As we move to the right, you'll find your foam system instructions. This is a Husky 12 foam system. There are also specifications. To the right in the gray module, your master intake gauge and master discharge gauge. Between the two of those, you're going to find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged, and these are utilized for testing purposes. Let's move to the left where you'll find the minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll go over that in just a few minutes. To the right, you'll find the Hercules CAFS system. It's the blue module. And then further to the right in the red area, this is your Husky 12 foam system module, control module, and also a foam system LED indicator for the amount of foam in the foam tank. Let's move just to the right into the gray module. You'll find your throttle pressure governor located. And then just to the right, kind of maybe difficult to see in this image, but we do have an audible alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does allow you to brighten or dampen the sound. Set of switches here, the one I wanted to point out is the OK to pump indicator and then also floodlight access. We do have a red air horn push button down at the very bottom section for activation. As we move to the discharges, you'll find crosslay 1, 2, 2.5-inch, and deluge in the upper portion. There are also CAFS switches just below each of those discharges that are CAFS accessible. As we move down, you'll find your front discharge, number 1, right and left, and also number 2. Same thing, CAFS switches just beneath. To the right, you'll find the rear inlet and then also a gauge heater. This is automatic and will come on dependent upon temperature. As we move down, you'll find the push to prime air prime. There are instructions for it, at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. To the right, you'll find your engine cooler. This is a twist, not a pull. And then you'll also find tank fill recirculating line and tank to pump. Let's move down on the pump panel here, identify a few more items. Warning label regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also, you'll find the 2.5-inch discharges located on the driver's side of the vehicle. You'll also find manual pump shift and flush valve. Let's move just to the right. We'll find a warning label. Only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after they received proper training. The Pierce American Flag Eagle, this is your large diameter pump inlet. To the right, this is your Wattress Placard indicating the type of pump and transmission you have. We'll go over that in a moment. And as we move downward, you'll find your auxiliary foam functions and also a warning regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Let's move down now where you'll find your CAFS air outlet on the very far left and then all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. They're throughout the pump panel and they are identified and also color-coded. To the right, once again, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. The next one down just happens to be your 2.5-inch female auxiliary inlet. It is a ball valve. Let's move just to the right in this image where you'll find a pan door. We'll talk a little bit about what's behind that. It's your foam operations fill and also operations lever. It's the yellow lever. As we move to the right, you'll find your pump drain and also warning regarding fall hazard. When climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Just underneath the diamond plated area, you're going to find your foam pump intake drain and foam pump discharge drain. Let's go ahead and take a look at those placards that we previously talked about. First, the Wattress Placard, which is your red placard. You have a CSU model pump and also a capacity of 1,500 GPM. As we move to the minimum operation maintenance schedule, you'll find test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 PSI. On the left is the associated GPM at test pressure, and on the right, the associated RPM at test pressure. 5-digit job number in the upper left-hand corner. Let's take a quick look at the entire side of the vehicle. All compartment doors are in the open position in the body area. Let's focus in on the first compartment to the rear section of the pump area. Adjustable shelving, LED lighting, and also a toolbox located in the lower section. Here's an image with the toolbox in the open position. Each one of those does have a locking mechanism to keep the door from opening while in transit. Let's move to the midsection where you'll find your blue DEF fill location. It's the blue cap. And then also just to the right, your side-facing dump valve, chute. As we move upward, you'll find 3 SCBA bottle storage locations. Let's go ahead and take a look. This is the blue DEF cap. This happens to be a 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. We do have some caution information on that. And then let's go just quickly underneath the vehicle. These are your automatic tire chains controlled from within inside the cab area. Back up from this location where you'll find the silver ultra low sulfur diesel. This is the fill location. Also, you'll find a tool board. D-handle gains you access. There is a lock mechanism on the very back section to restore it back to its original position. Once again, silver is your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. Let's move to the very rear compartment where you'll find, once again, LED lighting, adjustable shelving, and then also a pull-out tray. In the very bottom section, we have an additional drain. We'll go over that when I've got a close-up. Also, your 2 folding wheel chocks are mounted in the lower section under this compartment. This is going to be your rear inlet air bleeder. And then just a quick shot here, close-up with the tray in the open position. On the right-hand side, that's the release mechanism. Let's take a look at the rear of the apparatus. Starting at the very top, you've got an emergency light, a brake light, a turn, and a reverse light. You'll also find 3 steps located in this area for gaining access into the upper portion of your apparatus. Those are fold down. And then as we move to the left, you'll find an LED water tank level indicator. As we move upward, you'll find a rear-facing emergency warning light, and then also a 360-degree emergency warning light on the very top section. As we move to the very rear section, upper portion, you'll find your traffic advisor. Let's take a look at some close-ups. We'll start down at the very bottom section. First with the pan door at the bottom. Also some warning information regarding the 2 attachment points. It's for direct pull. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the left side. We do have a few cupped switches in this area. First, dump chute for your valves, driver's side, and also rear hosebed lights and rear scene lights. As we move just to the opposite side of the rear of the apparatus, we've got a few more switches, cupped switches, rear dump chute valve, and also passenger dump chute valve. As we move inside the area of the step, you'll find once again fall information regarding do not ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and also face the vehicle while climbing on the vehicle. There is a rear 2.5-inch inlet. We also have a warning label here regarding entanglement hazard because of those lines coming from a loft. As we move to the right, you'll find an additional 2.5-inch discharge. Just to the right, you'll also find your backup camera. It is recessed for protection. And then also just downward from this location, you'll find a direct tank fill. Further to the right, you'll find a warning label here regarding pressure hazard. Once again, caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move up into the hosebed area, you'll find long-handled tool storage on the right. These just happen to be 6 foot in length. Let's go ahead and take a look at the passenger side. All compartment doors are in the open position. Let's start at the rear and work our way forward. Once again, adjustable shelving and also an adjustable tray at the bottom section that does pull out, the release mechanism on the lower right. Ventilation, also in this compartment, we have a shoreline outlet, 20 amp. When that's plugged into shore power, this will become active. This demonstrating the shelf in the outward position and locked into position. As we move forward, you'll find SCBA bottle storage, side-facing emergency light, and also passenger side dump. As we move upward, you'll find 2 compartments at the lower level, and then also SCBA storage. What I would like to point out is at the very bottom section, your exhaust. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. Please be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move to the very top of the pump panel area, just kind of a reference point, this D handle gains access into your compressor for your CAFS system. Let's move downward. This is the through compartment here for your cross lays. Once again, cross lay 2.5-inch, cross lay 2, cross lay 1, foam capable. And also we've got some warning labels in this area regarding fall. Always climb on and off the vehicle. You must always face the vehicle for safety. Some additional access panel doors here located on the pump panel. There are 2 modules also, your powered equipment rack, which has instructions to raise and also to lower, an on-off switch and lift up or down. We do have danger information because of that rack in movement by hydraulic control. There is the possibility of injury. To the right, you'll find your cab lift, instructions for raise and lower, also caution and danger information. Also, be cautious that all things are clearly mounted or secured within the cab prior to the operation. As we move to the pump panel, you'll find the Pierce logo American Flag Eagle. This is your large diameter pump inlet. Right next to it, you'll find a warning label, pressure hazard. As we move further to the right, you'll find your large diameter discharge. And then further to the right, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. And then slightly to the right, you'll find a water strainer. And then as we move down on the pump panel toward the bottom, you'll find the 2.5-inch passenger side auxiliary inlet. This is a ball valve female coupling. Also an access door located here in the lower right, and then additional drains. Let's move down to the rear cab, where you'll find that lower compartment D-handle gains access into this. This is on the rear cab wall. As we move inside the cab area, once again, just a general view, at the hinge point, you'll find red grab handles for gaining access in and out. You'll also find inside push on and off red or white lens lights, and also your speaker system speakers and the roof section. Once again, 2 forward-facing and 2 rear-facing seats. As we move into those rear compartments on the rear cab wall, you'll also find shoreline outlets for these, 20 amp. When plugged into shore power, these will be active. Let's move around now to the officer's area. Once again, affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning information. We do have a door lock and latch mechanism, also manual window control and a grab handle. As we move to the center section of the cab area, let's look to the left of the officer's seat. There's 3 buttons located here. First, siren brake, mechanical siren, and air horn. As we move just upward and to the left, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style and then also USB. In the very center, you'll find your Knox box. And then as we move into the upper portion of the officer area, once again, push on and off white or red lenses. And then as we move upward, you'll find your unit radio on a swivel. Moving just inside of this location, you'll find your Firecom module for volume control and squelch. And as we move further, you'll find your wireless base station. That's just underneath that area. And then to the right, you'll find your AM/FM weather band radio. On top of the cab itself, this is a non-walking surface. So we have these placards indicating that there is the possibility of fall because of it being slippery. As we move to the section just behind the cab, this is your cross-lay compartment. You can see the connection points, and also you'll see 2 access doors. D-handle gains you access into the both of those. One general storage, and then on the other side is where you're going to find your CAFS system compressor. As we look inside in the dunnage area, you'll find your hydraulic oil reservoir. This is for your Husky 12 foam system, sight gauge, and also shutoff. Once again, CAFS system air compressor. As we move to the rear section, we have a large dunnage area with also a hand tool and also your foam tank fill for tank A foam. There is a warning regarding not mixing because of foam failure, different brands or consistencies. There's also a top fill location for your water tank. Here's a better look here at the hand tool located in the very upper portion of the dunnage area. Hose bed is completely covered. There is yellow diamonds around the outer edge indicating the walking surface. As we move inside, you'll find 2 hose dividers to the rear section. Also, as we move over to the side of the apparatus, you'll find storage location trough for your drafting hose and also a 10-foot folding ladder. Got a few images here with your ladder in the deployed position. It's a 24-foot extension ladder and a roof ladder, which is 14 foot. And then we've got an image with it back up to the originally restored position. Congratulations, Central Emergency Services Alaska, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35162. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.